The Israeli military says it has launched a new ground offensive in Gaza. Israeli forces carried out intense bombardments on the Jabalia refugee camp, saying Hamas was regrouping there. Local officials in Gaza said the strikes resulted in many casualties. Israel also attacked what it said were two Hamas command centers, one in a former school and the other in a former mosque, killing dozens of people.
Helpers race to save lives in what remains of the Shuhada al-Aqsa Mosque in Deir al-Balah. The tattered pages of these Qurans, a stark reminder of the meaning of this place for many locals. Israel said in a statement that the mosque and former school had in fact been Hamas command centres hiding in plain sight. Survivors and residents tell a different story.
I have been living here since October 17th, and I know this mosque. It shelters displaced people, elderly and homeless people who have lost their relatives and children. They were just looking for a place to sleep. The best option for them was the mosque. Those people had nothing to do with the war.
The attack came less than a day after hundreds of families were forced to leave their homes in the nearby Nusayrat refugee camp on Israel's orders. Israel said it planned to operate against Hamas militants who were using the area as an attack base. The operations in central Gaza coincide with the start of an Israeli ground incursion into Bet Lahia and Jabalia in the north and airstrikes which hit several buildings there. Israel said its forces were targeting Hamas militants and dismantling military infrastructure in the Strip's largest refugee camp. Locals say entire families were wiped out in the camp's worst night in many months. Israel has now ordered residents to evacuate to designated safe areas in the south. But 90% of the population has been displaced already in the past year, many people multiple times, and safe zones have been bombed in the past.
Where can we possibly go? I don't know where I'm heading. They're not giving us any instructions. We refuse to go to the south. I would rather die here with my children. It's the same situation in the south.
The latest strikes add to the mounting Palestinian death toll. A year on from the start of the current war, Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry says almost 42,000 Palestinians have now been killed.
Let's bring in journalist Balik Sladin, who joins us from Tel Aviv. Hello, Balik. So Israel says it had intelligence indicating that Hamas was rebuilding its operational capabilities at the Jabalia refugee camp. Is that likely?
Well, this is not surprising anyone in Israel. In fact, the last time that the Israeli troops operated in the north of the Gaza Strip, specifically in the area of Gaza City, was back in May, so like 5 months ago. Since then, according to some assessments, security assessments in Israel, Hamas still has thousands of operatives in the area of the north of the Gaza Strip, and they even tried to maybe build some sort of a small arms reproduction there, as well as recruiting new operatives from the younger people, from the youth there in the north of the Gaza Strip, since they have no other choice other than getting paid by Hamas. Of course, we're not talking about the same capabilities that Hamas had before October 7th or on the beginning of the war, but still a threat that Israel needs also to say to Hamas that we didn't forget this main front for us, even though that we operate in south of Lebanon and, of course, in the West Bank.
And we're hearing that Israel is on high alert for potential attacks ahead of tomorrow's anniversary of the October 7th Hamas terror attacks. How is the country preparing?
Well, last week, security officials in Israel said that Hamas might encourage Gazans on the day of October 7th, so tomorrow, to go to the fence, to get closer to the fence, or try to cross to the north of the Gaza Strip in large numbers. This scenario is being prepared for in Israel, but also in case of Hamas's own attacks against Israeli cities, in terms of maybe trying to cross the fence toward the Israeli towns, specifically when the ceremonies, the October 7th ceremonies are taking place. That's why reinforcement for the Gaza division, so in the Southern Command, has been carried out. And according to Israeli officials, a number of new battalions or companies have been added to the Gaza division. So any scenario where the Hamas militants would try to infiltrate inside Israel, or, of course, fire rockets at Israeli towns during the times of the ceremonies. That's, of course, a scenario that Israel is prepared for, and of course, that's what we're saying, why we are saying this, these preparations right now.
That was journalist Jabalia in Tel Aviv. Many thanks indeed for your reporting.